Let's talk to Steve Berry, former Top Gear presenter, because a couple of stories have come across the desk this morning, and one about an incredibly ridiculous-looking roundabout in Wokingham, right, which apparently, well, I mean, I don't know how to describe it really, but it looks like a work of art rather than a piece of actually road management. And also, a story in the front page of The Guardian today which says that people in London are breathing significantly cleaner air since the expansion of the city's ultra-low emission zone, according to a study. Now, I don't believe a word of that, because we had a study that said that before, and Sadiq Khan was forced to admit that actually they'd made it all up. Steve, very good morning to you. Hello.
Morning, Mike.
How are you, mate?
I'm all right.
Good man. Should we start with this ridiculous-looking roundabout? We've got, I think, a video of it, which we're just watching now. It seems to have been sort of painted by a madman. I don't know what's going on. There's leaves, there's sort of, you know, stars in the middle of it. Nobody knows how to drive through it. Nobody knows when they're supposed to stop or start or anything like that. What's the point of this kind of stuff?
Mike, there's everything that you need to know as to why this thing has manifested itself on our road network. In the first line of what the local council said about it, we want to get away from prioritising cars. And what we want to do is confuse the hell out of road users. Let me tell you something. My uncle, when I was a lad, moved to Australia, and he drove road trains for a living. Do you know what they are?
Yes, I do.
It's literally a train on the road.
Yeah.
And they put adverts on Australian television saying, they put adverts on Aussie telly saying, look, if you see a road train coming, get out of the bloody way. I always said to my son who's just started motorcycling, might is right. It's no...
Listen, we'll have to come back to you, Steve, because the lines are really bad. We're going to go to Andrew Rock now, driving instructor. Andrew, I don't know if you're ever in the position of going to Wokingham or going anywhere near these kinds of mad roundabouts, but have you ever seen anything like this?
Apart from the other magic roundabouts in places like Swindon and Hemel Hempstead, not quite like this one. This is pretty unique to me in my experience.
Yeah.
I've got a few things to say about it. On one hand, I actually love the roundabout in terms of its design, or colourfulness, I should say, and the artistry and the creativity in there. And one of the original councillors actually live on my estate and gave me some background as to why they did what they did.
Right.
With good intentions. However, I'm not convinced that it's the best thing or that it's an ideal.
Right. Well,
design.
part of the problem with what I would call a roundabout is that it doesn't appear to have anything in the middle of it which you're supposed to drive around. So, I mean, if you're coming from any one of the three access bits to it, and then there's a subsequent two, there's no sort of indication of where you go.
Yeah, exactly right. And even when you approach the roundabout, there are standard, typical signs that shows it's going to be a double mini roundabout.
Right.
But yet, when you get, so that's what the signage says when you approach. But when you get there, you're bamboozled by, hang on, what is this? This doesn't look anything like it. So, yeah, you're absolutely right.
If you were taking, I mean, my son just passed his driving test, right? If you were taking him through this when he was learning, I don't even know if you're supposed to stop where the line says that there are sort of leaves on the line, as it were. There's a dotted white line followed by a solid white line. I don't know what that means. Does that mean you stop? Does it mean you go ahead? What does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the features that I do like. But like you said, it is confusing. It doesn't conform to the standard, what we're used to. It does try to reinforce the fact that you need to give way. There's two give way lines and a stop line, like you said.
Yeah, but how would you know that? Because a give way to me is a solid white line. It's not a dotted white line and a solid white line and some leaves. I don't know what the leaves are for.
Yeah. The giveaway lines, the solid white line should be a stop line.
Right.
So I think it's kind of reinforcing or trying to reinforce to approach with a lot more caution.
But then on the other side of the leaves, there's a reverse of the straight white line and the dotted line. So what's that for? Do you have to stop there as well?
Yeah. Well, this is where they've made their own creation. So it's, to me, it's just reinforcing an approach that says, come with caution, be careful. However, it's
but say, for example, I mean, where the leaves are, right? Is that is that where pedestrians are supposed to be crossing?
It is what it's supposed to be, yes. And in fact, when I was there the first time on foot, because I did it on foot as well as driving through it,
No.
I nearly got run over because there was a car came
Funny
through.
enough.
Yeah, I know. The car came through. It wasn't had no intention of stopping.
Right.
And myself and the person I was walking with, we had to suddenly step back.
Right.
So it is confusing. It is contradictory. I understand what they're trying to achieve in the design, but I don't think it meets the standards.
I don't think it works, does it? And I mean, unusually in this day and age, there doesn't appear to be any room for cyclists, because normally you'd have some kind of cyclist access point, but there isn't one.
No, no, there isn't. So they're treating the cyclist as they would a normal pedestrian, I believe, in what they're trying to do there. But no, I've had also friends of mine who've come to the roundabout for the first time, and they've been completely confused. It might be okay after a bit of time for the locals who know it and understand it, but anybody visiting the area, that's where my main concern is.
I mean, I'd be interested to know how many accidents they've had since they put it in.
That's what I don't know, but I know there's been some near misses, including myself. And I think there was, in the first few days, there were about 3 reported accidents.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is now.
I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And we haven't even spoken about how much it costs to put actually the thing in. Listen, Andrew, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed. Andrew Rock, a driving instructor who, like me, slightly puzzled by the way this is all panning out. I think we've got Steve Berry back now. Steve, I hope we got a better signal now. This roundabout is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
Well, the irony as well, Mike, is that it's called California Cross, and I was thinking about road signage and road usage and road markings and thinking what we need are 2 things in road signage and road usage: simplicity and consistency.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter whether you're in Berwick-on-Tweed or Truro, if you come to a junction, it's the same, and that's what America has.
Yeah.
I've driven all over the States. You probably have.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast. I've been to the middle bit, the Trump Heartland, Jackson, Ohio.
Yeah.
The signage and the usage of the roads was exactly the same as it is all over America. Stop messing with it. People don't perhaps realise, often when you're driving, you're literally making split-second decisions. Literally split-second. And you need consistency and simplicity.
Yeah.
And this Farrago has got neither of those.
No, it doesn't. You don't know where you're supposed to stop. You don't know whether the leaf thing is a crossing. I mean, you just heard Andrew Rock there saying he nearly got run over when he was trying to walk around it because it's not very clear where you're supposed to go.
Mike, we've had give way to the right at roundabouts for how many decades now? And on a daily basis, I come across people who seem to be utterly confused by that idea.
You know what?
It's dead simple.
It's a good point, actually, because I'm convinced that there are people now who don't know how to deal with roundabouts. I mean, this one in particular doesn't seem to have a roundabout in the middle of it, so you don't even know it's a roundabout. If you were coming across from, the bottom right there, you sort of drive diagonally to the top left, but there's no roundabout to go around. So, but I'm like you. I'm amazed every single weekend, particularly when I get out of London, to see where all the roundabouts are in places like Sussex. People don't know what to do. I sit there and I'm looking at a guy to my right going, "You've got priority, mate. You should go," and they don't go. So I end up going because I'm not sitting here forever.
But Mike, what about the alternative, which is like a 4-way junction? Yesterday I had the same situation. Are we supposed to turn at a 4-way junction? Are we supposed to turn right in front of or behind traffic that's turning right from the opposite direction?
I always go in front.
Yeah, but Mike, again, there's absolutely no consistency.
No.
And there doesn't seem to be any guidance. You and me are both old enough to remember a time when the government used to make adverts and put them on the television reminding people what they were supposed to do on the roads. Remember, public information films?
Yeah.
Just to clarify things, maybe it's time, Mike, for the public information film to make a comeback.
Maybe so. I mean, because again, talking about America, where my sister lives in Connecticut, there's a 4-way stop, as they call it, with a stop sign on every single point of the 4 points, right? And it's a very clear system. Whoever arrives at the stop sign first goes first, and then the second person goes second, and then the third person goes third, and so on. And it's very simple, very straightforward. Everybody knows what's going on. But in this country, nobody knows what's going on.
Well, what's behind this, of course, is it's an attempt to reduce speeds without actually putting a speed limit in.
Yeah.
It's an attempt to confuse drivers to the extent that they have to slow down virtually to a halt to work out what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
Is there any need for that degree of complication? No. Is there any need to get rid of the fact that white stripes on a black road mean pedestrian crossing?
Yeah.
No, there's no need to do that. But because they want to be all touchy-feely and all that sort of stuff, instead of white stripes, let's have a lovely leaf design, and let's just leave people to work it out for themselves, knowing that almost all responsible drivers, which is virtually everybody that's on the road, will just have to slow down virtually to a halt to work out what the heck is going on.
I know, absolute madness. Listen, we haven't got round to the ULEZ story, but I'll ask you just one question because we've got a little bit of time. I don't believe a word of this. They're telling us that in London, which they've already faked before, levels of deadly pollutants that are linked to a wide range of health problems, from cancer to impaired lung development, heart attacks to premature births, have dropped, with some of the biggest improvements coming in the capital's most deprived areas. This is a Sadiq Khan piece of PR. The last one he put out turned out to be a lie. I suspect this one is as well. Air quality in London isn't any better.
Well, Mike, we've got the clean air zone in Manchester, except, of course, we haven't got the clean air zone in Manchester. We got all of the signage and all of the cameras, which were going to lead to cleaner air in Manchester, but we didn't actually get the regulations passed through.
Right.
Now we find out that those cameras are going to be given over to police activity.
There's a funny thing.
So in other words, they all got stuck up, they all got paid for, and now that they're all up there and working and in place, we get told they're going to be used for something different. In other words, snooping on us all up here. So you've got your clean air zone problems down there, and we've got ours up here. And I'll tell you what, no one is telling us what's really going on until it's too late.
No, of course. Absolutely right. Good to see you, Steve. Thanks very much indeed. Steve Berry, there, former Top Gear presenter, making perfect sense